Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel where I teach lessons of economics useful for students of class 11th and 12th of the CBSE board. And this is going to be the second video of the chapter Determination of Income and Employment. You can check out my YouTube channel where I've already released the first video, which is basically dealing with aggregate demand and aggregate supply. And this video is going to be all about propensity. And so since this is the second part, we are going to deal with propensity to save and propensity to consume. First of all, it is very important to understand the term what is propensity. In very simple terms, propensity is nothing but an inclination or a tendency of further actions. Hindi में अगर कहा जाता है तो झुकाव, which means I am tending towards one action and that is being influenced by certain things. For example, I am a foodie. I love to eat food, which means if my income increases, I will increase my consumption of food. So I can tell this in another sentence using the term propensity, telling that when my income increases, my propensity to eat more food increases. So in simple terms, what I'm saying is that as my income is increasing, my tendency or inclination or झुकाव to eat more food increases or happens more often. So the term propensity means inclination or tendency to do further actions. Now, propensity to consume, what do we mean by this? This will be understood when we understand the relationship between consumption and income. If you remember AD and AS from that video, I explained that C is denoted as consumption, whereas income is denoted by the capital letter Y. And only a part of income is being consumed. We do not consume the entire income. Usually we only consume a part of the income. Now you can see the table on your right there, and that table has been directly borrowed from the aggregate demand curve. You can once again check out my YouTube channel where I have released this video. And there in the aggregate demand curve, the first two columns of the aggregate demand table were Y, that is income, and consumption. And as you can see, there is an increase in income, and that income is corresponding to the increase in consumption. Both these values are increasing. From 0 to 400 income is increasing, and from 40 to 360 consumption is increasing. But consumption increases at a slower rate than the increase of income, which means if you see here, income is increasing 100 at every step, is increasing by 100 units every step, whereas consumption is increasing only at a slower rate than income, only at 80 units per step. Now, whenever I am having a particular income, it does not necessarily mean that I have to complete the entire income. Now, for example, here, my income is 200 and my consumption is 200. But it does not mean that when my income increases to 300, I have to finish the entire income. No. Might be my capacity is only 280, which means I am saving a little bit of my income here. I am not able to consume. And this is why consumption is increasing with the increase in income, but it is increasing at a slower rate. Its increase is slower than the increase of income. This phenomenon is called as propensity to consume. This is also called as consumption function, where consumption is equal to the function of income. As there is an increase in income, it will result in the increase of consumption. And this phenomenon or this incident is also called as the psychological law of consumption. As my income increases, my consumption also increases. Just look at our own houses, for example. When our salary is 5,000 rupees only, we tend to consume less. But suddenly when our salary increases to 50,000 rupees per month, our consumption also and the standard of consuming also increases. Imagine for 5,000, I used to fill my bike only with half a liter of petrol. But now at 50,000, I am able to fill my tank full, because that is the level of consumption which I am able to achieve. So as income increases, consumption also increases, but at a slower rate than income. So let's see the definition of propensity to consume. Propensity to consume can be defined as the rate at which an individual or an economy increases its consumption in relation to the change in income. This means propensity to consume is not related only to an individual, it also can be related to an entire economy. And John Maynard Keynes has beautifully explained in his thesis, The Theory of Income and Employment, that sometimes the economy's consumption will increase when the income of the economy increases. So, the rate at which consumption increases in relation to the change in income is called as propensity to consume. Let me try to put it into a different perspective by showing you the propensity of consumption of rich people and poor people. Now, if you see, a rich person has a lot of income. Imagine a rich person is earning 1 lakh rupees per month. Now, it is not necessary that the rich person will consume the entire income of 1 lakh. Imagine he has consumed only 60,000 rupees and has saved 40,000 rupees. This is called as propensity to consume, the rate at which the person is consuming when the income is changed. And here, since the rate of consumption is lesser than the total income, I can call this as low propensity to consume, where the rate at which the rich person is consuming one's income is very, very less. But as you see the income of a poor person, the quantity might be very less. The person might be earning only 100 rupees per day. But even though he is earning 100 rupees per day, he has very less savings because the hunger of him and his family is so huge that sometimes even the entire 100 rupees is consumed. So if you see, the rate of consumption in relation to his income is very, very high, and that is called as high propensity to consume. And so, as I told you earlier, this is called as the psychological law of consumption. Rich people, since they have huge quantity of income, they have lesser or low propensity to consume. They consume only a lesser part of their income. Whereas poor people, since the quantity of their income is very, very less, they have high propensity to consume. Propensity is always understood properly with the adjective high or low. The correct meaning of the word propensity is understood only with the adjectives high or low. Moving forward, to measure propensity to consume or the rate at which consumption is done, we have two different ways. The first way is called as average propensity to consume, which is also lovingly called as APC. Now, average propensity to consume is nothing but total consumption divided by total income. And if you remember, consumption is denoted by the capital letter C, income is denoted by the capital letter Y, so it is nothing but the ratio of C and Y, or average propensity to consume APC is nothing but total consumption C divided by total income, that is Y. Marginal propensity to consume is another way of measuring the additional change in income and the additional change in consumption. So MPC, or marginal propensity to consume, is nothing but the change in consumption divided by the change in income. You should remember here that we are only dealing with the additional units, and therefore this change is denoted by the Greek letter delta. And so the ratio of the change of consumption and the change of income is denoted here. So if APC was C divided by Y, or consumption divided by income, MPC will become delta C divided by delta Y, or the change in consumption divided by the change in income. We will make it very, very clear with a numerical example here. Now, as you can see on this table, we have the same two columns which I explained here during the propensity to consume. We have income going from 0 to 400, and we have consumption beginning from 40 to 360. Now, all we have to do is just find out exactly what is average propensity to consume and what is marginal propensity to consume. Now, average propensity to consume is denoted by this formula here, C divided by Y. So if you divide 40 divided by 0, you will get infinity. If you divide 120 by 100, you get 1.2, which means that the consumption is 1.2 times the income. This is what we are trying to establish. We move forward. The consumption is 200 C divided by 200 Y, that is 1, which means the consumption is exactly the same as income. But as the income keeps on increasing, the rate of consumption is increasing but at a slower rate. If you see here, 280 divided by 300 is 0.93, which means we are consuming only 0.93 part of the income. And as we are increasing here, 360 divided by 400, we are consuming only 0.9 part of the income. We are not consuming one or the entire part. We are consuming only 0.9 of the income, or 90%. So this average propensity to consume is helping us to get the idea of propensity to consume clear, because this is explaining the total rate of consumption in relation to the total rate of income. But now we have to find out what is the marginal propensity to consume. How is it changing from one level to another? Now imagine the income level of 0 and the income level of 100. What is the change? And how is this change affecting the consumption rate? That is what we're going to see when we're trying to calculate MPC, or marginal propensity to consume. So in order to first find out the value of delta C and delta Y, we have to understand what is the change which is going on. So as you can see, there is no value before this 0 and 40, so we cannot have any change here. But from 40 to 80, consumption is changing by 80 units. 120 to 200, the consumption is once again changing by 80 units. And as we are going down, the consumption is still maintaining 80 units of change. It is increasing, but it is increasing at the rate of 80 units. On the other hand, income, before 0 there is no value, so we do not know, and that's why we are putting a dash here. But after 0, income is constantly changing by 100 units. From 0 to 100, 100 units, 100 to 200, 100 units, 200 to 300, 100 units, and 300 to 400, 100 units. So as we see, income is increasing by 100 units, whereas consumption is increasing by 80 units. And from this, it is very, very evident that consumption is increasing along with income, but it is increasing slower than income. While income is increasing at 100 units per level, consumption is increasing only by 80 units per level. And so it is very easy to find out now. We have delta C, that is 80, we have delta Y, that is 100. So 80 divided by 100 is 0.8. So at every level, consumption is increasing by 0.8 of income, which means it is increasing only by 80% per level, and this is called as marginal propensity to consume. The rate at which consumption is changing at every additional unit in relation to the change in additional income. So this is basically propensity to consume measured by two ways: average propensity to consume and marginal propensity to consume. There is also another alternative way. From the following table, we can also use the alternative way, and this is called as consumption function, which is denoted by this formula here, that is C is equal to A plus B into Y. And here, what is C? C is once again exactly the same, consumption. A is autonomous consumption. If you have forgotten, you can check out my first video, but I'll be repeating once again. B is denoted by MPC, or marginal propensity to consume, and Y is income. So let us see with the previous table how we can try to find out what is this consumption function, or why is it needed. Now imagine from the previous table, from this table, using this table's values, we will have to find out what is C, find out C if the income is 200. So we will use this formula here. C, we have to find this out. A, autonomous consumption, if you remember, is the initial level of consumption when income is 0. If you remember, we consume even when we did not have income, and that income, when that consumption when income is 0, is called as autonomous consumption. So here in this table, autonomous consumption is 40 units, so that is going to be substituted as A here. We have B, which is MPC, and MPC at each level, at any level, is 0.8. So 0.8 is going to be substituted here, and if income is 200, so Y is 200, we are going to put 200 here. So we have 0.8 into 200, the BODMAS method, we have 160 plus 40 is equal to 200. And so the consumption is 200 when the income is 200. Is it true? Yes, it is true. The consumption is 200 when the income is 200. So sometimes when the values or the table is not there and just the value of autonomous consumption or MPC is given, we can find out what is the level of consumption by finding out or relating it with income. And this is once again a method to tell us that propensity to consume is nothing but the rate at which consumption changes in relation to the change in income. There is a relationship between income and consumption, and by using this formula C is equal to A plus B into Y, we can find out with this relation what is the actual level of consumption. Moving forward, once again this is the same. Now since this is the formula which I have taught, this is a short homework for you all. Find out C or consumption if the income is 50 while the MPC is 0.6 and autonomous consumption is 25. This is a short homework for you, a small mathematical challenge. The formula is there on your screen. The details are given there and you can solve this and write down the answers in the comment section and we can check it out whether your answers are correct or not. The next topic which we have to study is propensity to save. It is another part of the same chapter. It is another part of the same coin which we are dealing here. It is another side. Now this is very, very important to understand because savings also has a relationship between income. Now propensity to save, just like propensity to consume, is nothing but showing us the relationship between savings denoted by the capital letter S and income denoted by the capital letter Y. As you can see this table here, which has been borrowed from both aggregate demand and aggregate supply curve, you can check out the first video and this is exactly the same example. As income is increasing, consumption is also increasing, but then we also have savings as well. Initially it was minus 40 and minus 20, it reached the break even point and then it increases up to 40. So one part of income is consumed and whatever is remaining is called as savings. So savings is nothing but the excess of consumption, and so S is equal to, or savings is equal to, income minus consumption. You take any point here, for example 400 is the income, from that we have eaten up 360 units and so whatever is remaining is called as savings. So as we studied in propensity to consume, since there is a relationship between consumption and income, there is also a relationship between savings and income as well. So propensity to save is defined as the rate at which an individual or an economy increases its savings in relation to the change in income. So we see an increase in savings here. From negative values it is moving towards positive as the income increases. And so this relationship between savings and income, the rate at which savings is slowly increasing in relation to income, is called the propensity to save. The same thing, I'm using the same example here between a rich person and a poor person. Now high propensity to consume, this we discussed that poor people have very, very high propensity to consume, which means they consume a lot of part of their income, and this means that there is a very little part of their income devoted to savings. So high propensity to consume is equal to low propensity to save in poor people because they have very little quantity of income. There is very little savings. Whereas if you see here, rich people have huge quantity of income. For them, there is no need to consume the entire income. There is a low rate of consumption here, which means there is a higher rate or higher propensity to save. So this is also called the psychological law of consumption and saving. And this is how rich people tend to have low propensity to consume, high propensity to save. And that's why the rich become richer. And here we have the poor people who have high propensity to consume and low propensity to save. Their savings are lesser and that's why they become poorer and poorer in capitalistic economies. Just like consumption, propensity to save can be measured using two variations. The first one is average propensity to save, which is nothing but the total savings divided by total income. Total savings is denoted by the capital letter S. Total income is denoted by the capital letter Y. So APS is equal to S divided by Y. Marginal propensity to save, here we are seeing the change or the additional savings in every additional level in relation to the change in income. So it is change in savings denoted by delta S divided by the change in income denoted by delta Y. So it is the ratio of change in S and Y, that is delta S divided by delta Y is MPS. So we have a similar table here, once again denoted and derived from the previous propensity to consume. We have income here 0 to 400, we have consumption here 40 to 360, we have savings minus 40, minus 20, 0, 20 and 40. So with these values, first we will find out APS and then we will move on to MPS. So APS, as we discussed in the previous slide, S divided by Y. So savings divided by Y, so minus 40 divided by 0, it's infinite. Minus 20 divided by 100 is minus 0.2. 0 divided by 200, once again infinite of 0. 20 divided by 300 is 0.06 and 40 divided by 400 is 0.1. So as you can see here, initially at this particular level, I was first saving minus 0.2 times my income, but right now I am saving 0.1 times my income when my income is 400. When my income was 100, I was saving only minus 0.2 times, but when my income is 400, I am saving 40 or 0.1 times my income. So this is slowly showing us the relationship between total savings and total income. But now it is our duty to find out what is the change in savings. And if you see here, minus 40 and minus 20 is divided by 20 units. Minus 20 and 0 is once again having a difference of 20 units. 0 to 20 is 20 and 20 to 40 is 20. So there is an additional savings at every level of 20 units, whereas the additional income increase is 100 units. So this is showing the additional change for every 100 units of increase in income, my savings is increasing by 20 units. And that is shown in marginal propensity to save, delta S by delta Y, that is 20 divided by 100 is 0.2. Which means whenever my income increases by 100 units at every level, my savings is increasing by 0.2 part of that 100, that is 20. So from the following table, just like propensity to consume, we can have an alternative savings function. And the alternative savings function is S is equal to A plus B into Y. Exactly the same formula, but there is a difference. S is savings. A is the initial level of savings when my income was 0. Whenever there is autonomous consumption, what is the initial level of my savings? That is the first level of my savings. B is MPS and Y is income. So now, just like the previous equation given to you, I have another homework for you. You have to find out savings if the income is 80, if Y is 80, if MPS is 0.4 and A, or the autonomous level of savings, is 80, or the initial level of savings is 80. Using these details and using this formula, find out, do the homework and write down your answers in the comment section where we can compare your answers. Moving forward, we have the relationship between propensity to consume and propensity to save. Remember, whenever there is income, income is either consumed or saved. So we have APS, average propensity to consume, average propensity to save, and APC, average propensity to consume. Whenever these two things are added, it will become 1. For example, APS is S by Y, we discussed just now. APC is C by Y. So when we add these things together, we have the common denominator Y, we have C plus S, and C plus S, or consumption plus savings, is nothing but income. So we can write Y divided by Y, it is 1. So whenever we have APS and APC added together, it will be 1. Same thing with MPS and MPC, the same thing here. Delta S by delta Y is MPS, delta C by delta Y is MPC. Whenever we add, we have the common denominator, we have delta C plus delta S, that is nothing but delta Y, or the change in income. And so MPC and MPS, whenever you add this, it is always 1. So this is proving mathematically that income is either consumed or either saved. One part of income is consumption, denoted by C, and one part of income is savings, denoted by S. We have this table here to prove this. We have this table here where we will prove that one part is APS and the other part is APC, one part is MPS and the other part is MPC. So we have the table here, Y, that is 0 to 400. We have income. Now I have changed the values here slightly. We have 20, then we have 110, we have 200, 290 and 380. So now we have to find out, first of all, delta C. So delta C is nothing but the change in income, change in consumption at every level. And so this is, first we have no previous level, so that's why there is infinite here. From 20 to 110, the difference is 90. From 110 to 200, the difference is 90. From 200 to 290, the difference is 90. And from 290 to 380, the difference is 90. So we have got this entire column complete here. Delta C is 90 at every level. Consumption is increasing by 90 units at every level. Now we have to find out savings, and savings has been derived from Y minus C. Remember, S is equal to Y minus C. So the first level here, 0 minus 20 is minus 20, 100 minus 110 is minus 10, 200 minus 200 is 0, 300 minus 290 is plus 10, and 400 minus 380 is plus 20. So with that, we have our savings column here, moving from minus 20 to plus 20. Now, what is the change in savings here? The change from 20 to minus 10, we have 10 units increased. From minus 10 to 0, we have once again 10 units. From 0 to 10, 10, and from 20 to 10 to 20, it's 10. So whenever income is increasing and consumption is also increasing, my savings also is increasing by an additional unit of 10 per level. At every level, my savings is increasing by 10 units. What is the change in income? Once again, it is 100 here, 0 to 100, 100, 200 here, 100 again. So at every level, my income is increasing by 100 units. So now this is the necessary information that we have somehow derived mathematically. And now we are going to find out APS, APC, MPS, and MPC, because the necessary information is already with us. So APS is nothing but S divided by Y, minus 20 divided by Y, we cannot divide that. The next is minus 10 divided by 100 is minus 0.1. The next is S, 0 divided by 200, once again 0. 10 divided by 300 is 0.03, and 20 divided by 400 is 0.05. So as you can see, from minus, our average propensity to save is slowly moving towards a positive area. Our savings is slowly increasing. APC is nothing but C divided by Y. So consumption, this column divided by this column. 20 divided by 0, we cannot do that. 110 divided by 100 is 1.1. 200 by 200 is 1. 290 by 300 is 0.97. And 380 divided by 400 is 0.95. As you can see slowly, the consumption is slowly decreasing. It is increasing at a slower rate, but savings is increasing at a faster rate. And if you do this mathematics here, I told you APS plus APC is equal to 1. That is minus 0.1 plus 1.1 is equal to 1. 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. 0.03 plus 0.97 is equal to 1. And 0.05 plus 0.95 is also equal to 1. Which means either I am consuming and either I am saving. And this also means as my consumption is increasing at a slower rate, my savings is slowly increasing at a faster rate. Or I can also tell in other words, the average propensity to consume is increasing at a slower rate, whereas the average propensity to save is increasing at a faster rate. Let's do MPS and MPC, that is delta S by delta Y, that is this column, delta S divided by delta Y, this column. And in every level we have 10 divided by 100, that is 0.1, which means my savings is increasing at a rate of 0.1, and my consumption here, delta C by delta Y, that is this column, 90 divided by this column, 100, 90 divided by 100 is 0.9. At every level, my consumption is increasing at 0.9 part of income. If you do the addition here, 0.1 plus 0.9 is equal to 1 at every single level. So either I am saving or I am consuming even at an additional level. So from the above table, we have to find out now what is C and what is S if the income is 4,000. And if you remember, here is where we use the consumption and the saving function. C is equal to A plus B into Y, or S is equal to A plus B into Y. The first thing we will do is C is equal to A plus B into Y. C, consumption, we do not know, we have to find it out. A is the autonomous level, and the autonomous level here is 20, so we are going to write 20 here. B is MPC, and MPC at every level is 0.9, so simply we are going to bring 0.9 here. And Y is the level of income. So when income is 4,000, what is the consumption? So 0.9 into 4,000 is 3,600 plus 20 is 3,620. This is found out or where we are increasing. Even though there is no table, I can find out what is the level of consumption simply by using the consumption function or the formula for consumption function. The same thing can be done with S. S is equal to A plus B into Y, where S is savings. A is the initial level of savings here in this particular table. It is minus 20. And then we have B, that is MPS here. It is 0.1 into Y. So we have this formula here. S is equal to A plus B into Y. S is equal to minus 20 plus 0.1 MPS into 4,000. 4,000 into 0.1 is 400, minus 20 is 380. So this is savings here. Or if you remember, every part of income is either consumed or saved. So out of 4,000, if 3,620 was consumed, the remaining is saved, that is 380. This is also a shorter way of finding out the exact level of savings if income was 4,000. And how did I do that? By using the consumption function and the savings function. With that, we come to the end of this video. You can check out my YouTube channel once again to revise aggregate demand and aggregate supply. And this video was all about propensity to consume and propensity to save. The next video will be about the proper theory of income and employment. And in order to understand this theory, I have already taught you the basics, that is aggregate demand, aggregate supply, propensity to consume, and propensity to save. Thank you very much for staying tuned till now. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe so that many more students can benefit from it. Thank you so much. Stay educated and stay safe.